wow. Okay, first things first, that intro music is awesome. That's probably one of the few intros for an NES game that I could just watch over and over. Now, Section Z was a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up arcade game in 1985 that was later ported over to the NES in 1987. There really isn't much to talk about in terms of story or plot. The player controls a futuristic astronaut, and your objective is to destroy a mysterious space station that turns out to be the stronghold base for the Blangul alien empire. So the game basically throws you into space, and the first level is just you trying to get to the space station in one piece. Oh yeah, and instead of levels, Section Z has you go through various sections. Once you reach the end of each section, the player is presented with a number of transporters that vary section to section. Sometimes there'll be 2, sometimes there'll be 3. And the player can actually choose which paths to take, because each transporter moves you to a different section in the game. After a while, it can get really confusing to know where you are. Sometimes you'll choose the wrong path and get sent back a section that you've already been through. Now obviously there is an easy way to go through the game if you already know where each transport takes you, but if you're playing through the first time, good luck. You probably won't even make it to the first boss. I was actually able to pull up a map of the game online, and at first glance, it looks like a total mess. There's lines everywhere, and even though the sections are numbered, I'm still confused. Just imagine, back in 1987 when this was released, there was no internet, and Nintendo Power wasn't even published yet. So how the hell did they expect kids to get far in this game? With blood, sweat, and tears, that's how. Even if you did know the correct paths to take, there's still the difficulty, which never lets up. There's a bunch of different types of enemies, which is impressive for 1987, and it definitely adds to the challenge, but man, is it tough. Unless you had an NES Advantage controller, your thumbs would have gotten sore after a while, because there's so much to blow up. One thing I can say about Section Z is that its controls are spot on and extremely responsive. You press the A button to shoot forwards, and the B button to turn around and shoot backwards, which, believe it or not, was a new concept for side-scrolling shooters back in 1987. And to move around, you use the D-pad. Another thing I can say about this game is its fantastic music. The high-pitched echoes that give you the sense of being in a vast space, the low rhythms that convey a sterile setting. I don't know, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but it can't be argued that it is catchy. The graphics in this game are also impressive for 1987, although I have to call into question some of the colors that are used. On the cover, the astronaut looks red, but in the game, he looks a little too pink, and some of the wall and background colors don't exactly mix too well. But whatever, Section Z is still a landmark shooter that introduced a bunch of new concepts, like the transporters and the turning around to shoot mechanic. Check it out if you're a retro collector or a side-scrolling fan. I'm giving this game 9 out of 10. It's hard as hell, but in the end, it's all worth it.